Well, I think nothing on earth pisses the left off. I guess, okay, first of all, Trump pisses the left off probably more than anything, but I think in second place, it's easily Elon Musk. The left literally has some form of derangement syndrome over Musk now, which is fascinating and insane. We've come to this point in history where like mass hatred for individuals is a thing, and it's all based off of nonsense. But hey, can't help who you hate, can you? Actually, you can help who you hate, but when you have completely lost your mind, you can't help it. And because you need help. You need somebody to help you in these moments. So got that going on. Get to that. The left is now trying to peddle this idea that the election may not be free and fair, which should tell you they're probably freaking out right now that they're going to get bodied, because I mean that should have been the case to begin with, whether you support Trump or not. I mean, like, they're running a non-existent candidate here in Kamala Harris. Sorry about the cat hair on my microphone, but yeah, so you got that going on. You got the leftists are threatening any lawyers who dare work with Trump, basically going to go after their legal licenses. And then we got the left flipping words. I say the left, Democrats mainly. When I say the left, I'm talking like, deep state, talking about mainstream media, or I mean the legacy media, corporate media. I'm talking about the idiots, talking about the Democrat supporters. Left is a nice lumped in term. It doesn't mean that all leftists are the same. I just refer to it that way because it's like you're going to refer to it as Democrats, but I think it goes deeper than just the Democratic Party. Cough drop. I did not do a video yesterday or my newsletter because I was hunting. Don't get out much these days. Kids in school, wife's in med school. I just graduated with my PhD back in June. So finally had a chance I can get out and do it, during the week when my wife's on a break from school. We hunt together every time. So we got out there. Didn't see much. Actually, okay, I take that back. I saw a lot, but didn't see much I can shoot. It's bow season in Michigan. I saw, walking to my blind, I saw dark shadows moving right beside me. And I stood still. We both froze, and sure enough, 2 deer walked by. It was too dark to see. Then we get in our blind. First light, and this little dinky buck comes in. Didn't bother with that. Let him go. Hit it, and then saw a couple deer on the way in. And yeah, that was the extent of it. So I spent a whole day out there, whole morning, from morning till last light. Drove home last night, and I can never sleep the night before I go hunting. I just cannot do it. Even if I know I have, if I go to bed at like 8 o'clock, knowing I got to get up at 4 a.m. to drive to where I hunt, be out by first light, I'll never sleep. So I'm exhausted. And then you take the woods naps. You're dozing off every few minutes out in the woods, but it's never a very refreshing sleep. So I was tired last night. I watched some Monday Night Football and fell asleep on the couch before I got around to doing a podcast. So I apologize. I didn't get my newsletter quite done yesterday. I have a nice one coming up tomorrow morning. I didn't get done for today either, but it'll have everything from today's episode in it. And so we're at this point now. This juncture, the election's a few weeks away, and I think that the left is freaking out a little bit. The Democrats are freaking out. Kamala Harris is freaking out because they're going after Trump now, claiming that he's running a basement campaign, claiming that he's weak and scared. Because, this is a guy that literally took a bullet to the side of his head. And another time, somebody was waiting there for him at a golf course. But you know what? He's weak and scared. Now, what's laughable about this thing to me is that Kamala, however you pronounce it, was non-existent for 3 years. They made her the border czar or whatever. So they give her that title. And then, so she's terrible at it. So they just kind of want to just keep you out of the limelight. Then that infamous day when Biden magically put out on his X account a letter that he was stepping away from running for the presidency, because, you know, he totally did that himself. And then she was named the candidate. She hid from the press for the entire, basically up until last week. She did do one debate with Trump on a very, very favorable ground for her. And the moderators were clearly on her side. And yep, she cornered Trump. Trump was an idiot. He gave in to her like tactics about his ego, because, you know, the guy loves nothing more than his ego. Trump loves nobody more than Trump loves himself. And so when she was talking about his rallies and stuff, you know, he couldn't handle it. He couldn't give in. Or he had to give in. He couldn't hold back. So she finally did that. And when they're like, oh, you won, now she's like, okay, well, maybe I have the confidence to go out and do this thing. That was still kind of at the tail end of this fake phenomenon thing. So they that she got a boost for a while from that. But even really after that debate, it didn't really do much for her. And now there's clearly desperation there for her to get out and do another debate and things like that, because, you know, he is refusing to do so. She's calling him weak now because he's apparently scared. And it's just a joke. Like, here's the not that was one thing I bookmarked, but because of how dumb it was. So you got this guy here, Chris Wallace from whatever he's from. Is he CNN, or wasn't he CNN? Wasn't he like the guy on CNN that he flipped to CNN to do a show on CNN Plus or whatever, and it lasted like 10 seconds, just like the whole network did. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, he switched to CNN in 2022. But anyways, Trump is sticking to the basement like Biden in 2020. Now there's this idea that Trump is somehow hiding from the press, and he's hiding from, you know, his staff is keeping him away. And it's like, I feel like every day I see the guy out there doing podcasts and interviews, and he just doesn't want to do it with your joke of a media. Now, Trump was famous because one of the famous things, he famously coined like the fake news narrative. He flipped it on them. And of course, they always took that as like, that's dangerous. He's sowing distrust in the media, and then we need the media because the media is the media is the informant of the informer of the people. And so, you know, now, like, they have completely alienated him from the media, that he has no interest in working with them, and he still will periodically do things with them. But you wonder why he's running a basement campaign when he's avoiding hacks like this dude, and he's he's avoiding more debates because they can't get favorable, any favorable aspects of a debate. That for him, it's always for her, and the moderators and the networks, they clearly have one party they want to win this election, and they're out campaigning hard for their candidate every single day, and they want you to really despise one candidate. They go out and beat that war drum pretty hard every single day. So, why the hell would he work with you guys? And so this idea he's hiding is because he won't do another debate he won't do a 60 minutes interview. Gee, I wonder why. Look what happened last time. And then when you have her going on 60 minutes and they're editing answers to make it look more favorable for her. Joke. The media is a total joke. There's nothing there. There's nothing there that will survive. Corporate media is probably in its death throes right now. Right now it's caused by its own hand. It's truly remarkable. That doesn't mean news will go away, but network news, with all the money and all the influence it used to have, and the corporate sponsors and the big names in news, that stuff it's quickly becoming irrelevant. And while they are good at setting the narrative, nobody trusts them. I saw an article today from the Media Research Center. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's an organization that tries to find a left-wing bias in media, Hollywood, news, things like that. I think it was founded by Ronald Reagan. And there was an article on there today. I'm not sure if they actually wrote it, but I read it was from, it was posted on their site saying that, it's like 30% of Americans have trust in media. Only 30%. So that goes to show you that this whole thing, it can't last. They're going to get bounced by independent news networks, independent news shows and podcasts and things like that, because their audiences are dwindling. And unfortunately, their audiences are starting to kind of die out because it's a boomer audience mainly that watches this kind of stuff. And I don't think that it's going to last. But go ahead, keep on saying dumb stuff like this, that somehow Trump is sticking to the basement. I feel like Trump is doing interviews every day. It's ridiculous. And you wonder why the media has no trust when they come out with crap like this. Trump's age is a bigger problem than ever. Trump mixes up words, swerves among objects and off-topic speech. His speeches are increasingly angry, rambling, reignite the question of age. Donald Trump is deteriorating. How Trump's speeches are a red flag. Like, give me a break. You guys spent the last 4 years convincing us that Joe Biden is sharp as a tack. He's with it. He is so cognitively, dude. He from a cognitive perspective, he blows you out of the water. You should see him in private. I know in public he's kind of senile and an idiot, but in private, that dude is, man, he's so sharp. He's like better than Obama. But you have these headlines, and then the minute Biden drops out, it's okay to go after age. I'm not even kidding. I had people on during Biden's term, which I guess it still is Biden's term, but who cares? When Biden was still in the public eye, I having a conversation about the guy. Somebody told me that I feel negatively towards Joe Biden because I'm ageist. I have this implicit bias towards the elderly. That's why I don't like him. Well, apparently that line only works when you're talking about Biden, but who cares when it's Trump? Do they not think that we have the ability to check everything they've said prior to this? The internet is a magnificent thing. Like, I can probably do a search on any search engine right now and pull up all the times that they defended Joe Biden's age. I'm sure a lot of these outlets did it. You got what is this? MSNBC with the Washington Post, New York Magazine, Daily Beast, New York Times, all these joke, washed up media companies. It's remarkable. It's remarkable. This is funny too. I'm going to get into Elon Musk stuff here in a sec, but there was that whole thing going around. I think it was, when was it? When was Jimmy Carter's birthday? Was this a week ago? 10 days ago? He turned 100, which is good for Jimmy Carter that he lasted this long. October 1st, so a little over, 2 weeks ago. So Jimmy Carter, he was just hanging on to vote for Kamala Harris. She was such a magnificent candidate. The guy couldn't wait to vote for her, so much so that he was hanging on for his 100th birthday. And now that it's early voting in Georgia, Jimmy Carter made sure that he voted for her. And he's extremely interested in politics still, and he's and he's very concerned about the war in Gaza. Now, in case you weren't aware, this is pictures of Jimmy Carter on his birthday. This video. Wow. Here we go again. I don't know about you all. That looks like a guy who probably loves him some politics. And he was probably just so jacked about Kamala Harris, dude. I mean, look at him. Life of the party. He probably still have some really great conversations with him. Like, dude, and you wonder why nobody trusts any of these people. And you wonder why you're losing. It's a good chance you're going to lose this election. And it's because of crap like this. People are sick of being, I know the term is used way too much. They're sick of the gaslighting. They're sick of the constant lies and propaganda. They're tired of it. And like this, yep, I'm sure the guy was just couldn't wait to vote for her. I'm sure he's totally giving a shit right now about politics near the end of his life. I'm sure if he is cognitively there, he doesn't have other things on his mind. Probably what happens is they go in and talk to him and they're like, oh, read the paper. And like he's sitting there like, like that, catching flies. And they're like, wow, the Israel, they're just bombing the crap out of Gaza. What do you think about that, Grandpa? And he's like, That's it. He's fascinated in this subject. Because, like we're totally going to buy into that. Now, I'm sure you saw this one. Not this thing, but this is from the Kamala HQ, which, dude, they do such a good job. I'm going to vote for her now because of how great their social media team is. They totally don't defame people and post lawsuit worthy content. And they totally just don't just chop up clips into meaningless garbage. Kamala Harris's plan for black men is hailed as a game changer because she's going to legalize weed and cryptocurrency, and she's going to protect cryptocurrency. They're dying inside right now because black men are not swarming to support her. Now, last week, Barack Obama came up and scolded black men because of their refusal to vote for her. And the reason why they won't vote for her is because, well, she's a woman. And it's just amazing to me how desperate you sound when you talk like that. Because I think this is the biggest problem with the Democratic Party right now, is they see Donald Trump, okay, and they say, why are people voting for him? Well, the people are going to vote for him and support him because they're racist, they're bigoted, they're, they're sexist, they're fascists, whatever, right? And instead of actually doing a deep dive as to why people want to support him, They don't ever internalize anything. Why did we lose the election in 2016 when we were coming off back-to-back Democrat, so we had back-to-back terms, right? Because Obama had 2 terms. So you have back-to-back terms, and the guy coming out of the office in 2016 is a rock star, right? Democrat Party rock star. And even after all that, they bring in another from their all-star lineup, put her in the game, and she loses to this outsider. And instead of asking yourself why this happened, you have to jump to name calling, and you have to assume that you guys are so awesome that the only way people are not going to vote for us is because, they're assholes. They're bad people. That's what it comes down to. To them, the only reason why you don't vote for them is because you're a bad person. And I don't know about you, there are plenty of leftists that I spend time around, and they're wholly convinced that if you want to be a good person, you have to vote for Democrats. Like you can't. If you vote for Trump, you can't consider yourself a good person. And Democrats are good people. I don't know how people make it to the age they are and still believe in that fairy tale, that somehow government is benevolent and somehow, these people actually care about you and they're going to someday magically do a good job. They don't do a good job now, but as long as we keep the faith, someday they'll do a good job. And if you don't support them, you're a bad person. So it's remarkable that this is the line of thinking. Instead of looking inward and saying, what can we do to win people over? Is it possible to change what we're doing because we're losing people? They don't do that. They just go, well, they're just bad people. And then what they do is they go up there and they make a very public announcement about it. So that way their supporters can turn around and wag their finger at those bad people. They do it all the time. You don't believe me? Look at what they did during the COVID pandemic. I mean, you were automatically a bad person unless you were all aboard the COVID regime train. So Obama going up there and disparaging black men because they're just big, they just have some sort of bigotry within them. It's pretty amazing that you have the balls to say that, because there's no way in hell you think that's true. Because the reason you do that is because that's how Democrats argue. They automatically pull out that card of like, okay, somehow we have to make this an ad hominem. So we have to somehow be like, well, you're just a racist, a sexist, a Nazi, or whatever stupid thing you're going to come up with. That's how they know how to argue. Because they can't really argue based on reality or merit or truth or anything like that, because they're not good at anything that they do. Their policies almost always fail. I can't think of any successful policies. They never accomplish the things they say they're going to do. They literally lie about everything. So for you to say, well, it's because you're bad people, that's why you're not going to vote for it. It's like, no, it's because you all suck. You don't understand that? Like, it's just so, it's so demeaning. And do you think that type of thing is going to win those guys over? They're going to go, oh man, I need to put my head down. I feel bad because I just can't vote for a woman. Like, do you think that's the mentality of these people? Like somehow this guy, what is he like? He's like the principal of the school or something. You have to feel like humiliated when he's talking to you like that. Sorry, dude. You're just flesh, bones, and cells like every single one of us. You are not more entitled to anything. God did not endow you with some divine wisdom that we don't all have. We're all the same. So you don't get the right to lecture me about shit. Self-righteous prick. I can't stand this anymore. And he's not even talking to me. What I'm tired of is this demeaning and degrading way they speak to people that don't support them. I am a libertarian. I am not a Republican or a Democrat. But it doesn't matter if you don't support the Democrats, you are automatically a piece of crap. And they will talk to you like you are one. And they will tell everybody in the world why you are the way you are. And they will tell everybody in the world why they should hate you. Like, that's what we're down to. All right, I'm going to pause this real quick. Sorry, kids are sick, so it's like hacking kid in the room next door. It's real great to try to not record that. So, yeah, so this is what they do. You're going to get a lecture. And you're going to be told that you're a bad person. You're an extremist. So, that's it, dude. Obama, keep up the good work. I'm sure that'll win so many people over. I'm sure that'll work to your, like, you know, emotional, quivering, nerve-ending base of voters and supporters, but it's not going to work for most average Americans. People that actually have to live life in the real world. Because when you're broke and you have no money for food and you can't drive to work and the check engine light comes on in your car and you're like, well, this is going to be catastrophic. I have no money. I can't get a raise. I have no options. Do you think that those people care about the sex or the race of the person they're voting for? No, they care about the fact that this is a person who is tied to one of the most destructive presidential administrations in history, and it's affecting their life now. People care about things that matter. They don't care about stuff like that. And somehow getting a lecture from like some proselytizing, self-righteous douchebag is going to make you change your mind? It's not going to happen. And if you guys had the ability to internally understand anything, you would know that talking to people like that only makes it worse. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're the president of the United States or you're just some other, peon like me. Nobody likes to be lectured about what they're, about their decisions in life from anybody else. Especially when you're as an adult, as a kid even, it makes you feel like crap about yourself. But as an adult, like, piss off. I can do whatever I want. You're not somehow more, qualified to make decisions because you were president of the United States. You were an ass president, by the way. But by all means, lecture me. Lecture these people. They're totally going to love that. All right. Now, the major story of the hour. I'm sure I'll end up going for more than an hour because I didn't record last night. But let me show you this ridiculousness. So, here, let me make me a little bit smaller. All right. So, you have this article from Yahoo News, because Yahoo still exists. And it's titled, Elon Musk No, this isn't. Sorry. California rejects further SpaceX rocket launches after Musk's aggressive presidential race involvement. This is from The Independent. Now, the reason why California is rejecting Musk's ability to launch rockets is because of his aggressive insertion into the U.S. presidential race. And there's all kinds of questions out here as to whether it should be considered federal or private activity. SpaceX launches up to 50 rockets a year, or they want to increase it to that much, was rejected by the California Coastal Commission on Thursday. Some cited that Musk's incredibly political posts on X, his social media platform, make it so that way, he shouldn't be allowed to launch rockets for the betterment of humanity because he likes free speech. We're dealing with a company, the head of which has aggressively injected himself into the presidential race. He's also the company's owned by the richest person in the world, with direct control over what could be the most expansive communication system on the planet. Everybody knows only the government should have the right to control expansive communication systems. Oh, by the way, that government, we've endorsed Kamala Harris. We have a letter signed by deep state people that are endorsing her, and former Bush and Romney and Obama and Bush Sr. and Bill Clinton aides and people in the intelligence agencies. But that's okay. You're not allowed to say that you support Donald Trump, though. So, the left has officially lost their minds about Elon Musk. They're just so stupid. They don't understand the reason why he's no longer a part of their team. And it's not because he just saw the light on his own. It's because you all pushed him toward it. You did a bang-up job at that. Elon Musk was a darling of the left when he was, building electric cars, pushing this, his space exploration stuff, talking about the climate, their God. And they end up, he ends up buying X because he thinks it should be a free speech platform. And that immediately ruins his entire image to the left. And that was well before he was ever going to support Trump. His treatment from the left is what pushed him toward, hey, I'm not going to support these ass clowns because these people are evil. These people are... There's a uniparty establishment in this country. These people have an agenda, and they want to be the only ones that get to control information. And it rings true around the world, especially when the EU sends you letters threatening to shut down your platform if you decide to air a conversation you're having with a presidential candidate in the United States of America because they don't like him, because he's a threat to their globalism. You can't do that. Can't threaten your precious globalist empire. Sorry, not empire. It's precious globalist utopia. So here we are. We're at this juncture now where Elon Musk is being denied by government bureaucrats the ability to launch rockets, to launch Starlink satellites, so that way you can bring internet to people all over the world, because he supports Donald Trump. That is wholeheartedly all that this is. And he likes free speech. Because if you really think about it, one of the biggest threats to their power right now is X. because it's the only true free speech platform that has any major pull, and it's a global thing. And it's owned by a guy who says F you to government and into the, you know, the powers that be. Huge no-no. And so they're sitting here claiming that, well, he's injecting himself into the presidential race. Well, I guarantee you that there are plenty of billionaires out there very vocally supporting Kamala Harris. I guarantee you there are, you know, the majority of our you know, vocal deep state and intelligence agency people and establishment government people are, like establishment politicians, are going to support Kamala Harris, and they're gonna actively just try to tarnish Donald Trump. That's okay though. You can do that. You're just not allowed to support him. And you're not allowed to support people that want to support him. And the problem is you gave people the voice. You gave people the ability to spread his rhetoric. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous because he's anti-government, and being anti-government is dangerous. It's so dangerous to be against the government because the government wants to keep you safe. The government wants to fix all your problems. The government wants to wrap you up in a big hug and just protect you from the scary world out there. The government doesn't have an agenda like Donald Trump does, like Elon Musk does. The government just wants to do good. It's full of people that are smart and people that just do good. Like they have lost it when it comes to Musk. What if Trump does not win this election in 2 weeks or whatever it is, 2.5 weeks, they're going to be gunning hard for Elon Musk. Because Trump will be a non-factor if he loses this election. He's no longer going to be that relevant when it comes to politics. He's not going to run for an election again. You know, he's going to be in his 80s. He said he's going to step down. You know, that's like what dictators do. They say, I'm not going to run again if I don't get elected. But hey, you know, he's still a dictator. Oh, man, if he doesn't get elected, Elon Musk better watch out. Now, what that means to me is, like, you know, they'll probably come after his businesses. They'll probably try to use lawfare to take him down. They'll probably try to bankrupt him. They'll probably try to, you know, force him to sell X because of, you know, I don't know, whatever, you know, well, he owns Starlink and he owns X, and that's a problem. That's a conflict of interest. And, you know, he owns one of the most expansive communication networks in the world. Yep. The guy that supports free speech is the real threat here because, you know, he owns one of the most expansive communication networks and supports free speech. So therefore he must be a threat. You can't even argue your point to me. Like, how is he a threat? Because he has control of an expansive communication network. Like, somehow with that, he's going to manipulate what the media shows. He's going to manipulate, or what the internet shows when it comes to media. He's going to manipulate what? It's just mind blowing because they have proved that every major, like, search engine out there is biased toward the left, biased toward Kamala Harris. I get it all the time. Like, if I open up an Edge, Microsoft Edge, or any browser for that matter, all I see is Trump is a piece of crap, Kamala Harris is amazing. And, you know, even like Brave, you know, Brave is a great search engine, but like the Brave AI always gives me leftist bias results. I shared an example a few weeks ago, and it was something about, you know, political extremism, like incidents where people like committed violent acts in the name of politics. And every example it gave me was conservatives that did that, or Republican supporters that did that. Not one leftist, not one Democrat. And you'd think, oh, brave, that's got to be like more libertarian or more right-leaning. Nope. The problem is a lot of these, AI LLMs, they go through and they're like scrubbing the internet, and it's overwhelmingly leftist bullshit that's out there being espoused anyway. So they're like only learning based off what the sources say, and the sources are full of shit. It's just unbelievable to me that because he supports who he supports, and he owns a social media network, that he's vocal about who he supports in this election because he likes the idea of freedom of speech. You're not going to let him launch rockets out of California, something that has absolutely nothing to do with X in the election. Literally nothing. But it matters because I guarantee the people that are listening, or that are making these decisions, they just seethe at the idea of a Trump supporter. Their blood is boiling. And once again, you don't ask yourself, why did Elon Musk, ditch our team? Oh, because he became a target of the left, and he also actively saw the major corruption and the major government overreach that was going on within his own company. He releases the Twitter files showing that the federal government was, the federal government was pushing them to go after people, or to shadow ban people and shut people down, and it was going after they were trying to censor information out there and try to censor story. I mean, give me a break. Like, you're supposed to read that and go, wow, you guys are the good guys, clearly. When the sole reason he bought it was because the whole thing was just so blatantly biased in one direction. They were censoring everybody. They were shadow banning everybody. It was awful before. There's a lot of people that want to complain about it now. Oh, you have to pay to play, and it's stupid, and it's not how the platform was intended to be, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, it doesn't matter, because it is now about free speech, but it is also, it's one of the only ones out there. And before, it was so blatantly biased to the left, it was insane. It was awful. You would get attacked for saying anything on there. It was always negative, always hateful crap. And talk about, you would get shadow banned. You would get the moderators would shut you down for any reason. It was a joke, dude. There's people out there that they've had to go through 2-3 rebuilds of their account because of how they were treated when the previous regime was in there. So you got to wonder, well, why is it that the California Coastal Commission won't let Elon Musk launch rockets? Oh, well, because he's injecting himself too much into presidential race. What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with literally anything? If Elon Musk was supporting Kamala Harris, you better bet your ass that he would be launching as many rockets as he wants out of California. This is how the system goes. They will sit there and try to reason, and they will try to bullshit their way through some answer as to why he's not allowed to do this. But deep down inside, the only reason why is because they can't handle that he supports Donald Trump and that he platforms Donald Trump's supporters. Because if you don't remember, after Trump's, after January 6th and all that stuff, they were chucking Trump supporters off every social media platform, left, right, and center. That's why things like Parler and Getter and all these things came about, And then Parler gets throttled. And, you know, that's what they want. They want that to continue. They don't want you to platform these people, these extremists. So, I mean, the guy, if he loses control over X, this country's screwed. And that sounds pathetic. It does. It sounds pathetic for me to say those words, because if he loses control of a social media platform, well, it is, because it's so powerful and so prominent. If you go on other social media platforms that are more conservative or libertarian, it's largely an echo chamber, and it's all about one thing. You know, sometimes I like to jump on social media and not talk about politics, not talk about, you know, MAGA, and talk about Trump. Like, it just gets old after a while. There's nothing inviting about these other platforms unless you're just on there to talk about politics and cultural issues and what have you. You know, it's fun to get on there sometimes, social media, and read about just random interesting things, or read about history, or read about science, or read about, you know, or see videos about science and history, or sports and all these things. Like, those other platforms don't really have that. So, and so it's just not going to be inviting for anybody to go there. And there's the same with the left. If you go to other platforms now, that are supposed to be like more inviting for the people that are leaving X, it's god awful. You can't even hang out there. I was checking out Blue Sky or something. Was that what it was? Is that what Jack Dorsey left? Blue Sky? All right, you know, he left X to go there, and then he left again. And it was just like, dude, this is like TDS Suffers Anonymous. It was awful. And the same, you know, it was that way with oh man, there's so many sites that got completely destroyed by the left. Reddit has been pretty bad. I know it's very popular still, but like, it's just completely biased. What was the one? Oh, what the hell was that called? I can't think of it. There was one that was like a mini blogging site. That thing got destroyed by the left. You know, Facebook is largely just wasted away. I mean, who cares about that? I mean, I you know, Instagram can be fun, but it's like X is like the perfect crossroads of like just stuff other than politics and culture. And it's also a place that's like still popular for both sides. It's kind of the perfect way it went about, because I'm sure if Elon Musk had started the platform, it would have just ended up being another Truth Social or something like that. If he started it today, but people were already so dependent on it before that now they need to stay there. And that's why it's so important and crucial that he keeps that, because it's so powerful and prominent, and also popular. And it's a great place to have open discourse, and yeah, we need that so bad. And anything new that's going to come out it's just not going to cut it. You're not going to have another phenomenon like you did with Facebook, where it just blew up, or another phenomenon like you did with Instagram, or with Twitter, or with YouTube. There's so many competitors out there to YouTube, but it's like, good luck getting people to go watch those sites. If you really like, it is, I've tried to turn, I don't even want to say the words of these sites on here because I always get throttled when I do that. But like, if you ever want to try to convince people, like, hey, check out these places, they like refuse to do it. Even people I know that are like pretty they're into politics, and they're sick of the left-wing bias and stuff. I'll try to tell them, like, dude, check out this instead. And it's like, they're just not interested. But I just watch it on YouTube, you know. It's me, to each his own. I'm a libertarian. You do what you do, you, dude. But that's why it's really hard now for anything else to grow and get big. That's why X is not going anywhere anytime soon. It'll still remain popular, no matter how much Elon screws up the platform or whatever you think is happening that's wrong or dumb or whatever. It'll always stay big. And having the ability to speak freely is huge. And you can see how speech is the ultimate threat to them. Not just based off like these morons at California coastal whatever. I'm sure these people are real wonderful people to be around. I'm sure that their like Twitter feeds and stuff wouldn't. I mean, they probably don't even use it because Elon told me that, but I'm sure everything they post is like about Trump. What? What's the matter? My cat's sitting on the chair next to me. He's like looking outside. It always freaks me out when they shoot up and look outside and it's dark and I'm like, what? Who's out there? What if somebody like shoved him through the window right now? Dude, that'd be terrifying. I'd bail out so fast. I'd be freaking busting through my door. Pretty sure I'd just rip it out the hinges. There's a place in town. I live in like one of those cool like historic downtown areas. I mean, I don't live in downtown, but I live in a town that has one of those. Michigan has a lot of those, what's called Grand River Avenue. So I'm a historian, so I nerd out about this stuff. But Grand River Avenue is one of the oldest roads in Michigan. It ran from Fort Detroit up to Saginaw. Saginaw's in the Tittabawassee River, so it was a military base up there. And so on Grand River Avenue, which runs from Saginaw to Detroit, there's some of the oldest towns in Michigan along the way. And we have one of those cool old downtowns here. And like so many, old historic downtown storefronts have the store downstairs, and then you would live above it in an apartment above. Well, somebody put a freaking clown, it's like Pennywise the Clown or something, a black and white giant, life-size sticker thing in the window. When you drive by and see it, it scares the hell out of you. And I could imagine, like, what if that thing flew up to my window right now? That'd be terrifying. Trying to get in the Halloween spirit. Can't you tell? This little guy here, my daughter and I did that forever ago. The paint, you paint a mason jar and put a little light in there, that little ghost there. The paint's kind of peeling off, but it's been a long time coming. And then I got my my cool vintage cat over there. My cool vintage Halloween cat. I love that. So cool. I love my vintage stuff. Shocking being a historian, but it's really cool. All right, so yeah, we have the left losing their mind over Elon Musk. And, like, there's a chance if Elon Musk can't find a place to launch his rockets out of, like, they could use that against him. They could screw him over in his business ventures because they have the power to do that, and they're that vindictive. They will go after you for that kind of stuff, for being supportive of Trump. They're not saying, oh, because he's somehow dangerously injected himself into a presidential campaign, that's why he can't launch rockets. Like there's some threshold that he surpassed. No, it doesn't matter. It's because he's the richest man in the world, or one of them. It's because he's owns the biggest social media company in the world, or one of them. And he's supporting the anti-establishment candidate who is the favorite to win the presidency right now. That's the problem. And you can, if he, like I said earlier, if he were supporting her, it would be perfectly fine with all those things. But if, like they will try to take you down for doing these types of things because of who you are, because of your power, because of your standing. And he's so, takes kind of balls of steel to do what he's been doing. Not just the Trump stuff. I mean, whatever about that. The sticking up to governments and, Gavin Newsom was all heard about that fake AI generated Kamala Harris ad. He made a law that you're not allowed to do like parody now or whatever. That guy's a freaking, talk about tyrant. So you have this from Just the News. If you guys want a good news site to go to, this is one I highly recommend. So a group launches an ad blitz threatening lawyers' licenses. They work for Trump. So this is tying into the Elon Musk stuff. Oh, you want to support Trump? You want to be alongside? You want to get lumped into this group? You want to support him? You want to, legally defend him? Well, lawfare frequently is targeted at GOP politicians. The tactic is spreading to the legal profession as a group called the 65 Project has taken to social media vowing to go after the licenses of attorneys who choose to work for former President Donald Trump. It's bipartisan. It's a watchdog group from both prominent leftists and right-wingers, Democrats and Republicans, announced. It has launched digital and print advertisements in swing states such as Wisconsin and Michigan. The stark warning, don't lose your law license because of Trump. Across the country, lawyers who lent their credibility as officers of the court to Trump to file factually and legally baseless claims to overturn a legitimate election results have been investigated by state bar associations, been fined, had their licenses suspended, even disbarred. What an absolute joke. Alan Dershowitz says, they'd already filed a complaint against me. It's pure McCarthyism. It's unethical, and it's scaring some lawyers away. They'll go after people, man. They will go after you and try to ruin you. And they're not doing that because they care about you. They're doing it to make an example of you. And the greatest crime he committed, DJT, was he dared question the deep state. He went after an impossible opponent because he created this movement in America of people that want to push back. They don't want any more of the same. It's like the Obama thing I just talked about, it's because they don't want to vote for her because she's a woman. No, they don't want to vote for her because people are sick of this crap. They're sick of the continuation of your regime. And that's exactly what, that's what Trump originally was. Now, listen, I've harped on this. I don't think Trump's running a good campaign. I think the magic of what happened in 2016 is gone. He seems like more boring and sterile, and just his ego is, it's just ridiculous. It sucks. But he still created the movement. And then J6 really freaked them out. I mean, that thing, wow, people have the audacity to do that. So we need to make a public example of them. They ruin people. And they're doing the same thing with these lawyers that want to support him. It's crazy. How can you listen? How can you just legally? How can you just go after somebody because they're supporting one person? How many lawyers in the history of time and currently support people that are out there pushing baseless claims? How many, if you have a freaking lawyer, let's say you murdered somebody and you have a lawyer defending you, they're going to have to defend you, and it's going to be fake and baseless claims. Otherwise, you go up and say guilty, and that's it. That's what I would say that's what a large chunk of what happens in the legal system is people espousing bullshit. Isn't that a thing that lawyers lie? Isn't that the whole meme about them? If you want to be a liar, you have to be a good lawyer. Remember the movie Liar, Liar? Well, he was a lawyer, and his kid said for his birthday wish, hey, I wish my dad could not lie for one whole day. And it almost ruined his law career. It's been a thing since time immemorial that lawyers are full of shit. Sorry about the cough drops. My throat is still raw. And then when I went out hunting in the cold, it just kind of tore my throat up some more. So just if this is bothering you, I'm sorry. I know it. I'm a mouth guy. I listen to mouth noises. ugh, I can't handle it. Like people chewing, people swallowing, people slamming their coffee cup into the microphone, like I just did. It's good ass coffee though. But you know, lawyers, isn't the whole point of what are you looking at? One second. Cat is freaking me out. He was looking at something out there. I have the window cracked and I can hear something moving out there. Probably another cat or a raccoon or something, but kind of creeped me out a little bit. But like, isn't the whole point of the legal system for you to present a case, present your evidence, present that in front of a judge and a jury, and then if your evidence is compelling enough, then they will determine whether it's, you know, whether it's factual or not. So how is it somehow illegal for Trump to put together a thing about election results and then present that in front of a court? And if they determine that he's correct, what? That's illegal now? You deserve to have your law license destroyed? Like, this is the one thing you're not allowed to cross the line, is you can't dare question election results because the left is already setting it up that they're going to question election results. If you watch my video a couple days ago, there were plenty of people out there saying that they can't trust Trump to allow this to be a free and fair election. They can't put it past him. He'll do whatever it takes. You know, this idea that somehow, you know, only the left can question election results, only the Democrats. It's just so blatant how just massive and overbearing our government is, because they can be as hypocritical as they want. I think that's the thing that pisses a lot of people off, is it'll be like, but yeah, what about, you know, like you said, like this, like the Trump thing, Trump's not allowed to question election results, but Hillary Clinton's been doing that since her election in 2016. And you say that and you think the left's going to go, oh crap, they've caught us. They're like, yeah, and they don't care. They don't care that you call them out for being hypocrites. They know they're being hypocrites. It's only okay when they do it because they're better than you. And you can't do shit about it. They're mocking you, dude. Like, that's what they're doing to you. They want you to, like, get pissed off and feel hopeless that, like, they're like doing the stuff that they're saying I'm doing, and I call them out for it, and they're like, okay, but it's pretty wild. So, you know, you've reached this point now where it's like the government can just do whatever the hell it wants. So, and when you see these types of things, you know, shouldn't it be up to the people of the United States of America to determine whether or not things seem legit or not? Things seem sketchy? The answer is no. Because if you question the government, you're a dangerous person. You are a major threat. So this idea that you're telling people, don't you dare do this. Don't you dare support this guy. Don't you dare give him legal counsel, or else we'll ruin you. This is a thing that's been, it's a rather new phenomenon, but they've gone through and they've ruined people that are pushing back. They're ruining people that will speak out. Not just lawyers. Look at what they did to people during the COVID thing. They were destroying the lives of medical professionals who had something to say contrary to what they were telling people. And you know what? Those doctors, most of them, they're nurses or any of those people, most of them turned out to be right. Does it matter? Nope. Doesn't matter. They don't have to go back and fix any of their narratives or apologize or say anything about the fact that they destroyed our economy or whatever. But, I mean, this is the idea that you're saying you better not support him talking about the election. You better not ever give him legal counsel. Will ruin you. You cannot question election results. But look at this story. She casts doubt on whether election will be free and fair. She has not yet answered if she would support certifying a Trump victory. She's been highly critical of Republicans who objected to Joe Biden's victory in 2020. Why are people acting like this is going to be a free and fair election and he won't steal it? Charlemagne the God asked Harris. She replied the election would only be free and fair if Americans stand up for that. It will be free and fair election if we, the American people, stand up for that. What does that even mean? I see it as this. I think that the democracy has like 2 points of nature. One, there's a fact about a democracy that when it's intact, it's the strength that it possesses in terms of protection of people's individual rights and liberties. When a democracy is intact, we protect your rights and liberty. Wait, what? Democracy has 2 points of nature. One, there's a fact about a democracy that's when it is intact, it's the strength that it possesses in terms of protection. So democracy protects people's rights and liberties. Dude, this lady, she thinks that she is so profound and so intelligent. Like, she's so articulate and she's such an excellent communicator. She says nothing. Like, what does that even mean? How does democracy protect your rights and liberties? What the frick are you talking about? Democracy is not a force. Democracy is not a document protecting your rights. Democracy is not. I don't even know what you're getting at there, but either way, I digress here. She's pushing this idea that that the people need to stand up and make sure this is a free and fair election. Oh, okay, but that's only okay if you lose, right? Because the last time people tried to stand up when they thought that the election was kind of rigged, you remember what happened, right? We still talk about it like it's the darkest day in history. Like it's the worst thing that ever happened to the United States of America. So, like, it's okay. It's okay for them. I dropped my pen. Yeah, I just pulled my pen apart. Great. It's okay for them, to question election results, and for them to tell people to stand up, and for them to tell people Trump's dangerous, and for them to, censor people, and for them, it's okay if they do it because they're government. They're government. They're the deep state. They're the uniparty. They are like anybody that runs counter to them is a danger to society, and they are safety. They are freedom. They are democracy. Like, there was this really excellent article I read on Mises.org. I want to give the guy the proper attribution here, so let me pull this up before I tell you about it. I want to say, was it Ryan McMeekin Ryan McMeekin? I think that Ryan, or I'm mixing people up. Sean McMeekin is a historian, does some pretty interesting stuff. If you want to check him out, he does, this is kind of an aside, but he writes a lot of books about Russian, like kind of like, I don't say Russian history, but he wrote this interesting book about the cause of World War I, and he tied it to Russia. So in Russia, Russia was originally the country that wanted to start the First World War. Because there's always that thing about Germany, which is dumb, not true, but Germany did not, Germany can't be blamed for World War I, but so that's an argument for another day. If you want me to get into it, I happily will, but not today's show. Will politicians toxify freedom forever? This is by James Bovard. So another one of their big names over there. Great stuff. I can't recommend their stuff enough. And I'm not going to lie, like a lot of times I have questions about anything. I jump on their website and search the topic, and they're like 9 times out of 10, they have a dozen articles at least that pop up. Very educational stuff, very intuitive. And they have tons of books for free on their website for, based off Austrian economics and libertarianism and stuff like that I highly, highly recommend. Like, read anything by Mises or Rothbard if you can, but there's so many other great books on there too, but by other authors. But this article was interesting how Kamala is pushing this idea that somehow she is the freedom candidate. She's the one who is so just I'll just show you the title. Will politicians toxify freedom forever? And then by James Bovard from 1014. So you can check it out if you want to. Just pause the video and find the link. It's up there. But I want to give that guy, I want to give you a chance to read the article because it's really good. But they, this idea that she's the most pro freedom candidate we've had. She is, like her stance on liberty is unlike anything that that we've seen before, and her flavor of liberty and freedom is this idea that freedom means you're free from want, you're free from fear, you're free from danger, right? And who's there to save you in this version of freedom? Well, that's the government. And in order to protect your freedom, we need to take away your freedom, don't we? The collapse of humanity that's imminent can only be saved by freedom through government intervention. And if you don't believe in this type of freedom, well, then you're a threat. You're a danger. You're the problem. You're a bad person. Like I said, like Obama, right? Like he said. And in order to maintain this freedom, well, it's going to require government overreach and strict rules. They'll have to censor you. They need to police misinformation. They get to decide what is or isn't misinformation. And, like Tim Walz said, there's no protection for misinformation or hate speech under the First Amendment. And, remember Kamala Harris's regime or her administration with Joe Biden was known for very strict crackdowns on misinformation during the COVID regime era. Her protection of your freedom for the freedom to work one job and afford your rent, as someone said at the Democratic National Convention, that means that Your freedom depends on Kamala Harris's price controls and rent controls and penalties for corporations that don't abide by pricing rules. You deserve the freedom from extremism, and extremism actually, in the FBI's definition of extremism, they've included that, you know, Trump supporters are and America First idealists are extremists. And in this article, he said, you know, even Karine Jean-Pierre, you know, the wonderful press secretary said that, you know, extremism is when you're not with what the majority of Americans are. That's extremism. You also get the old FDR adage, freedom from fear, which means the government should protect you from anything that causes fear. And if you don't appreciate these measures, then you don't appreciate the government's crackdown on fear. In turn, this will mean more regulations, more government overreach, more spending, more censorship, more more crackdowns, more propaganda. That's where this is headed. And it's at the worst state it's ever been. Like I just showed you a story there. Elon Musk he may not be allowed to launch rockets in California because he's a dissident. And lawyers who want to support, any questioning of election results are at risk of losing their law license, having their lives ruined. Even though it's okay to question election results if you're a Democrat. If you're on that side of the aisle, it's okay. Or, they need to crack down on your freedom and liberty to protect you from yourself, to protect you from those evil people that disagree with you. All right, I'm going to call this episode here. I thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and share and comment and follow me on X. Link in the description. I really appreciate it. And anything you ever want me to talk about, just comment, let me know. Anything you disagree with me, let me know. Everything you agree with me on, let me know. Trying to make this whole thing go forward. I've been so sick lately that I haven't been that consistent. So I'm trying to get back to being consistent with my posting like I was before. 5 days a week, Monday through Saturday. I don't normally go this long. I just haven't done a video since Saturday. So I'm trying to catch up a little bit on all the stuff I read while I was out in the woods hunting the other day. And between dozing off, obviously I brought my phone with me and I just have Google Docs and I'm sitting there writing in my Google Docs. I always bring little notebooks with me too. I mean, it's a little bit cumbersome when hunting, but I did bring one with me. But I was, typing it the whole time. I had all this stuff checked out, and you should see the list of stories and stuff that I end up putting on the Google Doc to talk about that I don't, because it would go on for eternity. It'd be like a 2-hour thing every night, and it'd be a little rough. But yeah, they, there's lots of stories I never get to, so I would like to get to some tomorrow. I will be back with you around this time. Usually around like 10, 11 o'clock, midnight, and that range is when I post. So thanks for watching, listening. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, please, subscribe, give me a good review if you could, if you like it or whatever. I appreciate anybody who wants to listen. You guys are awesome. Anybody that is. And I really, I don't have many subscribers, but I really, really appreciate those that have. If you could do that for me, please, that would be wonderful. Help me grow. All right. Have a great night, and I'll be back with you tomorrow.